Morjesta pöytään! Welcome to Rauta's Reviews. Finnish black metal band Ride for Revenge is one of those bands that surely has garnered some deserved attention. Not only because it is of a certain quality, but more so because the band really is unique with its style, being somewhat experimental but also very brutal, raw and unapologetic black metal. The style is, simply put, quite primitive. And this is a live recording that was recorded in 2014 and 2017. You can pretty much see the information there, and also the lineup is listed right there. And what can I say? If you're familiar with the band's previous material, then this is not so surprisingly the same stuff, only just live material. Now, Ride for Revenge comes from a rather small city, but later on has relocated, and the band's signature style hasn't really been changing too much over the years, even though the band has clearly been evolving overall. Quick look at this discography tells you a lot. A lot of splits, quite a few full lengths, and also some live albums, compilations, and so forth. And this Maniacal Winds is from 2018 originally, being back then only a tape version. Later on it was also released as Final Agony LP with 12-inch vinyl. But now it's CD, and the reason why it's not here shown under other versions is that this CD version is going to be out on 1st of February 2021. And because I'm doing this video a couple of days before that, well, it's not just listed there right at the moment. Anyway, that's beside the point. The point here is that you have here these 8 tracks, which are all obviously live ones. And given that the band's style is very raw and kind of a primitive, not only in terms of production, but also how they play their music, this kind of music might be hard to execute live the proper way. Luckily so, this is very much that, because you really don't see, or rather hear the difference between this one, and the studio versions, except that, you know, there will be live audience. Yeah, good song, and you know, the stuff. Live acting anyway. Live audience. And that is a good thing, obviously, because so often what bugs me with live recordings is that once you have that really cool studio production, everything is right, you know, just with mixing and mastering, everything well balanced and all that stuff. When you go to listen to certain bands with live recordings, it sounds so different. Maybe the vocalist is lacking, you know, having problems with the voice. Maybe the mixing is a little bit weird, and, you know, it just sounds different. With live gigs and fests, I don't mind. I mean, it's part of the presence. But when it's, you know, live DVDs or live CDs, Blu-rays, doesn't really matter. Very often you lack the live presence. You know, you don't have that cold beer, your friends, and smelling sweat and piss and shit all over. So what you have in essence is the crappier version of the studio recordings with some mandatory, how are you doing, Helsinki or London or Buenos Aires? Well, that's not really the case here, because this is very much like a live representation of what's going on with the studio albums, and in my opinion it brings some extra value to that. Now, my only problem is, and I'm gonna confess it right away, I have never enjoyed Ride for Revenge, especially on albums, too much. And this album is not gonna change it. It's not so much the band's fault, because they're doing their own experimental style, and while I can, you know, be entertained and enjoy the raw, primitive, and experimental style as such, I really can't get it, you know, in my head in a way that I will actually like it. So it's a band that I can totally go for, you know, alive and see their primitive presence. But when it comes to enjoying the actual riffs and ideas, you know, on a record, doesn't really work for me. Anyway, if you're a fan of early Beherit works or previous fan of Ride for Revenge, there's no reason why you wouldn't like this. So take this recommendation from a person who isn't into Ride for Revenge. I know it's not for everybody, it's way too marginal to be liked that much, but those who can like this certain kind of a unique black metal rawness will find this live album quite enjoyable. I'm quite sure of that. So in case you like it, go for the physical product. Meanwhile, I don't have yet a link to be provided in the description box, so you probably have to do a little bit Googling, or at least go to YouTube and search for clips you listen to this one. And that's all. Should you have comments or questions, put them on the comment specs below and I'll get back to you. Bye bye.